So co-workers, bosses, supervisors, the co-worker. We all have people at work we don't like, and we all have know that people often joke inappropriately for a workplace environment. Again, being a little bit old school, I don't have too much of a problem with that. When I have a problem with it is when it's done maliciously and intentionally, and someone has been told to stop, and they continue. Excuse me. For example, racial humor. I'm in the construction industry. If I see it all over the place, racial humor. Inappropriate black jokes, inappropriate white jokes, inappropriate Hispanic, uh, homosexual jokes. Fortunately, it's not very common where I work. But anybody in the construction industry knows that you cannot walk onto a job site anywhere. We can walk into the porta potty and not see profanity and graffiti of racism and sexism scrawled all over the inside of it. Going both ways, every which way you can imagine. It's not just a bunch of white people saying horrible shit about another group. It's Hispanics saying horrible shit about white folks, blacks, every which way you want to go. And it's awful. And I don't know why it's so prevalent. But here's the thing. When somebody says stop, you gotta stop. If somebody says, hey man, whoa, you're offending me. I hate that word. But says, whoa, that's not right. You're not gonna talk to me that way. You don't make those jokes. Don't say that to me. Don't touch me. They stop. They need to stop. If they don't, you need to take action. I'm a firm believer that everybody gets one free strike, right? So you said something to me that was way outside the pale, not appropriate, or disparaging, or sexual, or whatever it is. Whoa, don't do that. Where are you coming from? This is work. I'm not saying I'm an angel. I'm not saying that I don't want to say engage in it, but entertain it. I'm not someone who gets easily upset. I don't take offense very easily. It's hard to attack me as a person using just words. So when that happens, I just roll with it because I know more often than not it's good humored. If I feel like it's not good humored, I address it with them. But that's hard to do. It's hard to be because it is confrontational to say, don't talk to me like that. Don't say that to me. It happens to guys too, but let's be honest, everyone. This happens far more to females, effeminate men, and masculine women that they're touched inappropriately, said something too inappropriately, or in some cases even told that they have to perform certain favors for promotions to escape write-ups, punishments. None of this is okay. Not even once. A verbal joke will get you fired in the workplace. Now, socially, we all want to be liked. We all want to be accepted. And we want to make friends. So a lot of times we'll tolerate these things because you don't want to look like you're all sensitive and you're not one of the guys, or you can't hang with the dudes in a male-dominated workplace. You don't have to tolerate that, though. I mean, the work is work. You're there. I've said it often. I work to live. I don't live to work. I don't care if people at work like me or not. I would prefer that they did. Excuse me. I would prefer that they did. But if they don't, I don't care. Just don't interfere with me doing my job so I can collect my paycheck and I can go home and go live my life. But that doesn't mean I'm going to tolerate abuse. It's not, and especially for the women, you don't have to do anything other than what's in your job description. If you get in trouble, own it. I mean, that's for everybody. You don't have to perform favors, so to speak, to avoid that or to get the raise or the promotion you deserve, especially if you deserve it. This is how I would handle anything like this. You almost always need to have said stop at some point. Now, I don't feel like that's the case for physical contact, inappropriate physical contact. Obviously, your immediate reaction should be get your hands off me, or however you want to react to that, letting them know that's not cool. And then you need to go to HR. And if it's verbal and you've said, whoa, you're not going to speak to me that way, I'm not your buddy, this is work, and then it continues. I'm not saying you can't do it on the first time there too. You should. I'm just saying I personally don't. But yes, you should. And I recommend that you document it. I think that's the most important step. You handwrite a letter to HR with specifics. Your name, the date it occurred, if it's not the same day, what exactly was said, what exactly happened, where you were touched, whatever it was, you list it out. Leave the emotion out of it. Leave your anger out of it. Leave your hypothesis out of it. Just state your facts. I was here. This is what was said. This is what was done. I reacted like this. They said this. This has to stop. You sign it, you date it, you make a photocopy of it, and you present that photocopy to HR. And you keep the original. That protects you. Keeps a document from being altered. It lets them know that you are also keeping documentation. So even if someone in HR is friends with the management team, the supervisor, your coworker, they're drinking buddies, they play on the same baseball team, they go shopping together, whatever it is, that you think that they're friends and that they're not going to have your back, that might be true. But their job is to make sure the rules of the company are followed. And their job is to partially protect the company from lawsuit. Now, two things happen when you handwrite a letter and you give them the copy. First, no one ever writes a handwritten letter anymore. It's always typed, email, text. No one writes a handwritten letter. So they sit up and pay attention. You took the time to write this out. Secondly, they have a photocopy of it. That lets them know in their minds that you are keeping written documentation, which lets them know, or which further informs them that because you're keeping documentation, you're building a case. Whether you even want it to go to a legal level or not, they know that you can take it there. So they'll act. And if they do not, or you get, well, let's just take this one step at a time. Say they don't react. Say that you get the brush off. You wrote a letter, you took it to HR and said, hey, I've got an issue. This is what's going on. They're going to want to talk to you about it unless they're worthless, like I'm talking about. And then you leave. And when it happens again, you document it in the same way. You reference your original letter and the date from that letter. You know, as per my last letter I hand delivered to you on this date, these things haven't stopped. Do it 2-3 times if you have to. And if you're not getting results or it is increasing, you get an attorney. There are attorneys everywhere that specialize in this stuff. Get an attorney. It will come to a head. It will be put to a stop. Because no company wants to face that lawsuit. And you will have a lawsuit at that stage. I mean, I'm not a legal expert, but you'd have one. If at any of the stage, after you've initially given the photocopy of your handwritten letter, they retaliate in some way, dock and pay, that's not justified, you're terminated, all of a sudden your shift changes to an awful shift, anything that looks unjustified and you can point towards as retaliation, you get an attorney, especially if you're fired, even after the first letter. I presented this handwritten letter to them at this date that I was being harassed. They'll take it from there. Attorneys are expensive. Well, yeah, that's true. But here's the thing. There's TV attorneys all over willing to work for your case. Contingent, their price being contingent on the winnings of your case. And yeah, I know. Those aren't the most desirable attorneys. But if you don't have the financial resources to hire one that isn't, you get one. I have some experience with them from the professional level, not from ever needing one. And they are like dogs on a bone because they know they don't get paid unless they win. And so they fight hard to win. And you come to them with a sexual harassment or any form of abuse from work documented, they're going to try to win that. I would think. Again, I'm not an attorney. The important thing is the situation comes to a head. You address it, or you have to leave work because you can't allow yourself to be treated that way. If it's a coworker, same deal. You switch crews, you switch departments. You know, nobody wants to get anybody fired except for the most messed up of us. But it doesn't mean... The truth is you're not getting them fired. They're firing themselves. You told them to stop, and they didn't. Now, I know I've been addressing this mostly to women, but we know that it happens to men too. Usually it's a little bit more physical as far as like fighting or the bullying tactics from high school kick in. But it's also this also can be of a favor-based situation. Usually it's a little bit more benign. It's kind of like the good old boy network. Oh, you're friends with all the upper management, so you got a promotion. Sometimes, yeah, you're friends with the management and you're qualified and you're the best choice. And sometimes you're not, and you get the job anyway, or they get the job anyway, because who they know. It's harder to prove. That's why it's so prevalent. But I think that things have gotten better. Over my years of working, I notice less and less of that nonsense. And I'm in a really great place where that doesn't seem to occur at all. But you don't have to tolerate workplace bullies, or abuse, or harassment, or touching, or violence from anyone in your workplace. There are laws in place, enforceable, to protect you, and you should use them if you have to.